pretty good. Oh, hey guys, didn't notice you were there. Just enjoying some wine, as you can see. Anyways, today I'm just gonna talk a bit about Far Cry 4. A very, well, a good game, yeah, very good, great game actually, I should say. Definitely worth playing. It was definitely worth every penny that I put into it, which was $150 because I got the Curat edition. Being that I'm a big Far Cry fan in general, I always like to get the, you know, the highest edition that they have, or that they have available to the fans. And I'm just gonna go over a couple of things that that I kind of wish they had in Far Cry 3, but now they finally included it in Far Cry 4. And some of these things are stuff like air travel, so the buzzer, the helicopter, very good stuff. I'll go a bit more into detail into that later, because that has some cons that I'd like to address. The throwing knife is a good one. You know, I always figured if you have a knife, why not be able to throw it? And that was the, you know, in Far Cry 2 you had a knife, but I never really thought of it. Words, right? Far Cry 3, I did think of it, and they didn't have it. Kind of disappointing. Still a great game in general. The ability to climb a roof without a dedicated ledge. That's pretty cool now, because you can just, it offers much more stealth, in a way, you know? And again, you know, it's improved abilities, right? Why not? Some other things are, which I found amazing and I really enjoy, is the grappling hook. Now that opens up a totally different side of the game. Now you can climb stuff with a rope and swing and do all sorts of, you know, cool Indiana Jones stuff. Who doesn't like that? I love it, I know for a fact. I think you would too. And you know, it's a great thing, you know. Far Cry has always been one of those games that I found has always listened, in one way or another, have listened to their fans, and just really brought the best out of the game. You know, of course there are always, you know, a couple of problems here and there, but you know, eventually they get fixed, and if they don't get fixed, then it'll get fixed for the next game. Which is, you know, good enough, why not? It's unlike, you know, I hate to bash on it, but Call of Duty, I don't really see that with Call of Duty. You know, they give you a few new maps, a few new guns, maybe a new game mode, and then here, have fun, you know, you're essentially buying the same game. That's just my opinion. Again, it could be biased, but yeah, that's just my opinion. Moving on, the crossbow, that's a pretty cool one, because you can use that to hunt animals now, and get clean kills. And yes, in this game, they've included a new way of killing animals. If you blow them up, you get damaged skin, which is useless for crafting. If you use arrows and bows, you get clean kills, which means you get double skin. And I believe that's either by default or if you unlock a skill, but I think it's by default. And for those who got the limited edition, you have the, what is it called? Hold on, let me check quickly. You have, oh, you don't have. Okay, well, you have this gun that shoots out a big hook. It's like something fishermen would use. I forgot the name. I'll write it in the. Yeah, you got it. Anyways, the AI seems to be a bit smarter because they found it a bit harder to sneak by them, so they've improved. However, in the map editor, the AI is still pretty dumb, I think. A bit smarter than Far Cry 3's map editor's AI, so that's an improvement, but I still find them really much easier to kill than in the story mode, so there's kind of a small difference, or maybe it's just me, I don't know, you know, placebo does weird things to you, right? And snow, of course, who doesn't like snow in their video games? I mean, I do. I mean, maybe not right now because we're in Canada and we're getting real snow, and to be honest, this is the first year that I'm not looking forward to snow because it's cold. Why? But anyways, and now I'm just gonna go over a couple of things like the pros and cons of the game that I found personally. We'll start off with the cons because the pros outweigh the cons, so we'll just get the cons out of the way and then move on to the good stuff, right? Alright, so I've been experiencing some shadow issues, some flickering, unrealistic, enlarged shadow issues that happen certain times of the game when you're looking down or up or almost down or in the middle or something like that. It's not a GPU driver issue, I know for a fact because I've updated it the day it came out, and that for me fixed a lot of issues regarding two-dimensional trees, and the tree's not rendering properly. That fixed it for me, but it still didn't fix shadow issues, so that's either a hardware issue on my end or something within the game. I have not heard anything about shadow issues from other people. I've heard some other stuff like black screen and some other user issues. Luckily, I've not had any of those, so my overall gaming experience has been nothing but, you know, thumbs up, thumbs up, because, you know, this game deserves nothing but positive comments, I think. Of course, there are a couple of things, but yeah, we're getting into that. And the other one was, which I'm coming back to, the buzzer, the height limit, rather. That stuff is kind of annoying at some points because there are some parts of the map which you cannot even get up to with the buzzer, and let's say there's an outpost there. There's an outpost there, and you can't get up to it. So that's kind of annoying because the helicopter starts beeping, and if you stay too high for too long, it'll eventually just come crashing down and render the helicopter useless while you're coming down, so you can't even, like, you know, restart it. So ultimately you either jump out or stay in and hope for the best, which sometimes works because it doesn't blow up. It's not like GTA where, you know, cons, let's see, that's all I have written down for cons, but I can't think of anything else. Although I do remember some other things that I've been thinking about while playing the game. But I'll write those in the description if anything. Pros, the overall story, so the, you know, the story that they have to tell is great. I like how they brought back the kind of Far Cry 2 vibe, where you have to pick between two sides. Because if you remember in Far Cry 2, there was the APR and the UFLL, and you had to, you were essentially a mercenary, and you had to go between the two, you know, betray one, betray the other, blackmail one, blackmail the other, and stuff like that, you know. Except in this one, it's not two separate teams. The conflict is within one group, so the Golden Path, obviously that is. And then you have, of course, Sabal and Amida, who you have to choose between. I accidentally, towards the end of the game, chose to go side with Amida, finally. That was not my intention. I accidentally pressed the wrong button. It happens. Especially when you're using an Xbox 360 controller emulator, using a PS3 controller. You know, sometimes you get kind of mixed up. The scenery is also very nice. It's majorly improved. The new GPU engine that they're using is fantastic. It's phenomenal, especially if you have a good GPU like me. Mine is just above a threshold good GPU, I'd say, because there are some parts where I get low FPS, but if I overclock my GPU a bit with the Asus GPU tweak, then I can get around an average 60 FPS, I'd say, which is a fairly good user experience, you know, for most players. But of course I don't mind going under that a bit. It happens sometimes because, you know, the scenery is just so detailed and so dense and large. But, you know, it's great. Plus I'm planning to upgrade my GPU regardless of that, so that's not a problem for me. The fortresses were a very great addition. It adds not a whole new side of the game, but it adds more things to take over. And it's also great how they included the option to reset the outposts once you've conquered them all, which is something that I found in Far Cry 3 was kind of boring once you finished it, and once you collected all the collectibles, which there are actually a lot more of now in Far Cry 4, like the posters, the masks. You still have the Letters of Lost, a couple other things I think, I'm not sure. Oh, the Manny Wheels, and I think that's it. There might be more. I already mentioned properly. Yeah, well, that's it for now. So yeah, the fortresses are cool. I've never actually attempted to take one over while it was in its default setting. I usually waited till I killed off the main character of that fortress, and then it got weakened. So in that scenario, I found it almost like taking over a bigger regular outpost. It wasn't too difficult. If you have the right strategy, you can take it over without even being detected if you know how to do it properly. So that's not hard, but it's cool. And the fortresses I find usually get a default buzzer, so that's really good because it makes it traveling around the map much easier. I already mentioned the buzzer, that's a pro. The mix of Far Cry 2 and Far Cry 3 vibe, I've already mentioned that. They also brought back some of the animations that I think Far Cry 3 didn't have, like when you're there's a bullet wound inside you and the guy grabs a bundle of matches and he sticks it in himself. I don't recall seeing that in Far Cry 3, although it may have been. I don't know. That's something I definitely remember from Far Cry 2. And here's the best part. If you got the limited edition with perk, and it's harpoon gun, that's what it's called, right? Harpoon gun. Oh, that's one thing I don't like about the harpoon gun is that you don't get clean kills. That's unfortunate because it is kind of like a bow or a bolt. So logically it would make sense that they give you clean kills if you use that to hunt animals, but they don't. But anyways, if you do all the missions with Herc, and this is a spoiler alert, he will reference Jack Carver from Far Cry. He doesn't say Carver, but he says Jack, and then he says Jason. Because I'm going to paraphrase. He says something like this: I have a tattoo of Jack, Jason, and then he says, I'm going to get one of you. So AJ Gale, which is the main protagonist, your character, you, the main guy. And that's something I've been waiting for since Far Cry 2. You know, in Far Cry 2 we kind of got that Jackal, kind of a Jack Carver reference, sort of. Not really, it's not anything that's been people been able to prove, it's just kind of a speculation. And then that's cool, why not? You know, they kind of have the same background, so you know, it's like, oh, maybe that is Jack Carver, just in Africa. But you know, this is something a lot more real. You know, Jack, it's like, wow, you haven't heard of Jack since, well, since Far Cry 2. So that's great. You know, for me as a big Far Cry fan, especially, you know, I started off playing Far Cry on the console, so I played the original console versions, which was the Instincts and the Evolution series, and the Predator for the Xbox 360. Those are good ones, but I also, you know, of course, the PC version is also very great. The original by Crytek is just, you know, wow, very, you know, ahead of its time. And I think that's it. There probably is a few things that I missed in detail, but you know, I'm not going to go over the game 100%. It's a good game to get by. Definitely, I enjoy it. There are a few things they could improve on still, but overall, it's a playable game. I've not been experiencing any of the problems that the players seem to experience. That is a black screen and what many people call still a raw game. Yeah, there are kind of a couple of issues, but no, I find it very much playable. It's very enjoyable, and stay tuned because after this video I'm going to make a second review about the map editor. So I'll be purely focusing on the map editor, which I do have a couple of interesting things to say about. And yeah, that's all. I'm George, as you know. This is 95 HD Films. Don't expect me to upload too much, because this is not something I like to do, and just being that I like Far Cry, I decided I'd make this video. Anyways guys, cheers, have a good day, and see you later.